machine as it sputtered and died for the third time that morning. "Not today," she whispered, voice tight. "Please, not today." Steam hissed weakly before the machine shut off completely, displaying a blinking red error she'd learned to dread. The line of 3 customers waiting sighed. One stepped out of the queue and left. Another muttered something about unprofessional small businesses. Aria forced a smile she didn't feel. "Just give me 1 second, okay?" They didn't look convinced. Her Café, Solis brew, smelled like warm cinnamon and nostalgia, but the charm couldn't hide the exhaustion etched into the walls. The rain outside hammered against the windows, streaking down the foreclosure notice, still taped on the glass because she hadn't found the courage to take it down. She unplugged the machine, plugged it back in, prayed, hit the power button. Nothing. Her chest tightened. She felt that familiar spiral: rent overdue, suppliers demanding payment, the bank threatening to seize the building, and her father's voice somewhere in her memory telling her to keep fighting. But she was tired. She was so tired. When the door opened again, she didn't even look up. "We're having equipment issues, but I promise I'll—" "No need," a calm voice said, deeper than anything she expected. Aria blinked and finally turned. A man stood in the doorway, drenched from the rain, suit soaked, but somehow still looking intentional. Lucian Hale, CEO of Halixon Technologies, one of the most powerful men in the state. She recognized him instantly. Everyone did. He had a face made for magazines and a reputation made for fear. What the hell was he doing in her Café? Lucian brushed water from his hair and looked around with an intensity that made her uncomfortable. She swallowed. Can I help you?" "I need coffee," he said simply. Her broken machine flickered in her peripheral vision like a taunt. "Right. About that. It's dead." Lucian stared at the machine, then at her, then at the customers waiting impatiently. "How long has it been malfunctioning?" "Too long," she muttered. "Long story." "I have time," he replied. She frowned. "You're Lucian Hale. You absolutely do not have time." A ghost of a smile touched his lips there, then gone. "Make me anything. Even instant." "I don't care." "Instant." "Right." At this point, she didn't have the energy to be embarrassed. She grabbed the emergency jar, heated water, and handed it to him with a forced cheerful tone she'd perfected over the past year. "1 instant coffee. No charge, considering it's terrible." He took it, sipped, winced. "It's definitely terrible." Her cheeks flushed. But it's honest," he added. "Most coffee shops don't serve honesty." She didn't know how to respond to that, so she didn't. He paid anyway and walked to a corner table. And to her horror, he didn't leave. He stayed. He watched the storm. He watched the Café. And eventually, he watched her. By noon, the customers were gone, the rain got worse, and Aria finally sat down to breathe. Her phone buzzed. "Bank manager, Victor Crane." She froze. She answered anyway. "Mr. Crane, I just need 2 more weeks, I'm begging you. No more extensions, Ms. Solis. You're past the grace period. Unless a miracle happens today, the Café will be repossessed tomorrow morning." Her stomach dropped. "Tomorrow? You said I had 3 days." That was before the updated foreclosure order. Crane's voice was cold. Pleased, even. "I'm sorry it's ending this way." "You're not sorry," she whispered. He hung up. Aria sat there shaking, phone still pressed to her ear long after the call ended. Tears blurred her vision as she stared at the foreclosure notice through the rain. Lucian stood up. She didn't see him until he was right beside her. "You're losing the Café." It wasn't a question. She wiped her eyes quickly. "None of your business." "That's correct," he said calmly. "And yet here I am." She stood abruptly. "Look, thank you for the coffee purchase, but you don't get to pity me. I'm handling it." "No," he said softly. "You're drowning." Her breath hitched. "Why are you even talking to me?" Instead of answering, Lucian pulled out a pen. "How much do you owe?" She froze. "No. Nope. Absolutely not." "How much, Aria?" Her pulse raced at the sound of her name leaving his lips. "You don't get to swoop in and play hero." "I'm not playing anything," he replied. "I'm offering a solution. I don't want your money. Your pride doesn't matter if you lose this place tomorrow." That hit her hard. She looked away. Why? Why do you even care? Lucian didn't hesitate. Because places like this matter. She exhaled shakily. You don't even know what this cafe is. Not yet, he said. But I want to. She was still trying to process that when he pulled out his checkbook, an actual physical checkbook, sat at a table, and began writing. She rushed toward him. Stop. I said no. He kept writing. You said no to pity. This isn't pity. Then what is it? He finished writing the number. He tore out the check. He held it out to her. A 5-figure amount. Enough to clear her debt. Enough to buy time. Enough to save everything her father built. Aria's breath caught. Why would you? This is insane. Lucian watched her closely. I'll give you this money. You won't owe me a cent. I won't take ownership of anything. And you want what in return? She asked bitterly. My soul? My cafe? Free coffee for life. No, he said. I want a favor. Her heart pounded. What favor? I'll tell you after you agree. She recoiled. Absolutely not. Then you lose the cafe tomorrow. That's manipulation. It's truth, he said. And you know it. She stared at the check. Her father's laughter echoed in her mind. Her promise to protect the cafe rang louder. Lucian lowered his voice. Aria Solis, do you want to save this place or not? Her hands trembled. What kind of favor could possibly be worth this much money? You'll find out later, he said. But I promise you it won't harm you. And it won't harm your cafe. She lifted her eyes to his. Why me? His gaze softened barely, but enough to shock her. Because someone once saved me when they didn't have to. I'm returning the debt. Simple as that. Her throat tightened. She took the pen from his hand. You're insane. I've been told, he replied. She signed. He slipped the check into her palm and stood. Good. We begin tomorrow. Begin what? The favor, he said. He walked toward the door, rain waiting for him like an invitation. Before he stepped out, he added, Don't be late. The door shut. Aria stood there alone, holding a check that changed everything. And she suddenly realized. She had just made a deal with a man whose world could swallow her whole. But it was too late now. She'd already signed. Aria barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Lucian's face across the table, the look in his eyes when he said, We begin tomorrow. She replayed every second, wondering what she had agreed to, wondering if she had made the worst decision of her life. But the check was real. The debt was cleared. Her cafe had one more chance to breathe. When dawn came, Aria dragged herself out of bed, hair in a messy bun, heart pounding like she was walking into an ambush. She arrived at the cafe an hour early. The rain from last night had dried, leaving the windows fogged but glowing with morning light. She opened the door, expecting to be alone. Lucian Hale was already inside. He stood by the counter in a pitch-black suit, hands behind his back, looking like he belonged nowhere near a cozy cafe, but somehow fitting perfectly into the chaos of her life. Aria jumped. How did you get in here? He held up a key. She stared in disbelief. Where did you get a key to my cafe? You left the spare under the mat, he said calmly. Not very secure. She groaned. That key was for emergencies. This is an emergency. She narrowed her eyes. You're unbelievable. I've been told. He glanced around the cafe. Are you ready to begin? No, she said honestly. Absolutely not. But you're here anyway, so what's the favor? Lucian didn't answer. Instead, he pulled out a chair. Sit. Sit, she repeated. That's the favor? You want me to sit? For the moment, he said. I need to assess something. Assess what? You. Her jaw dropped. What is that supposed to mean? Lucian studied her with unsettling precision, like he was reading a resume she didn't know she submitted. Finally, he said, Do you know why your cafe is failing? Aria stiffened. Because I don't have funding, the espresso machine is possessed and… No, he interrupted. It's failing because you're doing everything alone. She hesitated. That's not. You're running the front counter, the books, the marketing, the operations, the supplier relationships, and every crisis that appears. That isn't sustainable. Not for anyone. I don't have a choice, she snapped. You do now. He stepped closer to her chair, expression unreadable. This is the first part of the favor. You're going to learn how to let someone help you. She blinked. What? You agreed, he reminded her. And the first thing you're going to do is relinquish control. Her pulse jumped. Of what? Everything. She stood up so fast the chair screeched. No, absolutely not. This cafe is the only thing I've held together since my father died. I'm not handing it over to a stranger. Lucian's gaze didn't waver. I'm not asking to take your cafe. I'm asking you to let it survive. The words sucker punched her. He walked toward the counter and examined the malfunctioning espresso machine. I ordered a replacement. It's arriving in an hour. You what? He continued as if she hadn't spoken. I've also assigned a consultant to reorganize your finances, an interior designer to modernize the layout, and a PR team to promote your reopening. She stared at him. I didn't ask for any of that. You agreed to the favor. This wasn't part of. He turned suddenly, eyes sharp. Aria, you said you wanted to save this place. You signed. Let me help you. I didn't sign up for a hostile takeover. This isn't hostile, he said. If I wanted to take over, you wouldn't have a choice. That shut her up. He softened, just a little. This cafe matters to you. That alone is enough for me to respect it. I'm not here to own anything. I'm here to rebuild it. She swallowed. Why? You barely know me. Lucian hesitated. For the first time since she met him, he looked almost human. I know people who are drowning, he said quietly. I was one. And someone once pulled me out. The words lingered between them, heavy and surprising. Aria exhaled. Fine. What's the next step? Step 1, Lucian said, you will not work today. She blinked. I what? You're taking the day off. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No. I have deliveries, receipts, cleaning, inventory. He didn't budge. If you don't stop, you'll burn out. And a burnt-out owner is the #1 reason small businesses collapse. You can't force me to take a day off. I can, he said, because you agreed to the favor and this is part of it. I swear, she muttered, you are the most infuriating man alive. So I've been told, he said without missing a beat. He gestured to the door. Go home. Or go anywhere. Just don't stay here. Her frustration boiled. Fine. But this better not be some control freak fantasy where you take over everything and I watch my cafe turn into a soulless corporation. He smirked faintly. Do I look like I have time to run a cafe? Honestly? Yes. Lucian actually laughed, a soft, disbelieving sound that startled her more than anything else he'd done. Just go, he said gently. Aria grabbed her bag and stormed out, but halfway down the street, she looked back through the window. Lucian was behind her counter, rolling up his sleeves. Oh God. She turned around and rushed back in. Wait. What are you doing? He looked at her calmly. Taking inventory. You don't know how to take inventory. I do now, he said, holding up her father's old logbook. You write everything down by hand. Color-coded. Fascinating system. She snatched the book from him. Don't touch that. He raised an eyebrow. Aria. She froze. You're still here. Her cheeks burned. Because you're impossible to leave alone. Lucian stepped closer. If you don't trust me yet, that's fine. But trust that I'm not here to hurt this place. I'm here because I made a promise. A promise to who? She asked. To someone who mattered, he said, voice low. She stared at him. He didn't elaborate. She didn't ask again. Finally, she sighed. Fine. I'll go. But if you break anything, I won't. And don't speak to customers like you're ordering a boardroom. I won't. And don't reorganize my entire kitchen. He paused. That part one can't promise. Lucian. He smiled, actually smiled. Go. She groaned loudly and walked back out the door, muttering curses under her breath. But once she was outside, the cold air hit her and she realized she didn't know what to do. She had no idea how to not work. She had no idea who she was outside this cafe. Her phone buzzed. Leo, hey sis, you good? Can I stop by the cafe later? She hesitated, thumb hovering. Aria, not today. Taking a break. Three dots appeared, then stopped. Leo knew her too well to believe that. She shoved the phone in her pocket and kept walking, trying not to think about Lucian reorganizing her world inside her cafe. Meanwhile, inside the cafe, Lucian Hale ran his fingers along the counter with unsettling familiarity. He whispered quietly, "Manuel, I'm keeping my word." Then he got to work. By midday, Aria returned, not because she trusted him, but because anxiety gnawed holes in her stomach. She pushed open the door and gasped. The cafe looked alive. The clutter was gone. The display case was spotless. The counter gleamed. A repair team was fixing the machines. A marketing team was taking photos. A designer was sketching layout ideas. And Lucian Hale, Billionaire CEO, was kneeling by the lower shelf sorting coffee beans like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Lucian." Her voice cracked. He looked up, hair slightly out of place, sleeves rolled to his elbows. "You're back early," he said. "What did you do?" He blinked. "I improved efficiency. You terrorized my cafe. I enhanced it. You turned it into a construction zone." He tilted his head. "You're panicking. I'm witnessing a billionaire remodel my cafe on a random Thursday. Of course I'm panicking." Lucian stood slowly. "Aria, breathe." "No. Stop saying that like I'm your intern." His jaw ticked. "I don't have interns." "Well, congratulations, because you have one now." Silence. Lucian exhaled. "Aria, look around. Everything we're doing is temporary. You will approve every final decision. But this place needed help." Her anger wavered, just enough for exhaustion to slip through. She whispered, "Why are you doing this for me?" Lucian looked at her with something she couldn't name. Something raw and maybe broken. "Because I owe someone who can no longer be paid back," he said. "And you're the closest thing I have to honoring that debt." Her breath stilled. "My father." Lucian didn't deny it. Aria sank into a chair. Emotions overwhelmed her: grief, confusion, gratitude, frustration, fear. Lucian sat across from her. "There's something else you need to know." She looked up slowly. "The favor you agreed to," he said, "isn't about the cafe." Her pulse quickened. "Then what's it about?" Lucian held her gaze with the intensity of a man about to reveal something that terrified him. "It's about me." Her stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said quietly, "that I need you to teach me something no one has ever taught me." She swallowed. "Teach you what?" Lucian's voice cracked for the first time. "How to feel human again." Aria froze. The cafe noise faded. Even the hum of the repair tools seemed to vanish as Lucian's words sank into her. Teach him how to feel human again. She stared at him, searching for a hint of irony. A smirk. Some sign that he was joking. Nothing. Lucian Hale, the man who intimidated investors with a single glance, looked genuinely afraid of her answer. I don't understand," Aria whispered. Lucian clasped his hands slowly, like every movement hurt. "I've spent 20 years turning myself into something efficient. Something unbreakable. Something people can't manipulate." His eyes drifted to the window. "Somewhere along the way, I forgot what it feels like to be a person." She blinked. "You're telling me you don't feel?" "I feel enough to know something is wrong," he said quietly, "but not enough to fix it. I operate like a machine. I make decisions. I react. I move forward. But connection? Empathy? Joy? Slowness?" He shook his head. "Those things faded. Or I buried them. I don't know anymore." Her heart twisted despite her better judgment. "So you want me to teach you how to be human?" "Yes." "That's absurd." "Yes." "That's impossible." "Probably." "And you're still asking me?" Lucian met her eyes. "You're the only person I've met in years who doesn't treat me like a god or a monster. You talk to me like I'm just a man." She swallowed. "You're just a man." He let out a soft, humorless exhale. "No one else seems to think so. And what makes you think I can help you? You helped your father keep this place alive with nothing but heart and stubbornness. You help strangers every day with warmth you don't even realize you have. You helped me the moment you didn't fall at my feet when you recognized me." She looked away, overwhelmed. "I didn't help you. I didn't even like you at first." "Exactly," he murmured. Her head snapped up. "What is that supposed to mean?" It means, he said, leaning slightly forward, that your honesty is a rarity I need. The air thickened. Aria felt suddenly aware of how close he was, how intense his eyes were, how vulnerable he looked beneath all that polished armor. She shook her head. Lucian, I make coffee. I'm not a therapist. I'm not asking for therapy. Well, what are you asking for? He hesitated. Teach me what your father taught me, before I lost my way. Her breath caught. You said he fed you once. Lucian nodded slowly. When I was 21, I slept behind this cafe for a week. I had nothing. He caught me trying to steal a sandwich. A flicker of shame crossed his eyes. Instead of calling the cops, he brought me inside. Fed me. Gave me a place to sit. Told me I mattered. Aria felt tears sting her eyes. She tried to blink them back. He was like that. Lucian's voice softened. It changed my life. It kept me alive. And I promised him that when I had the power, I would honor that kindness. I never got the chance. He died before I could even thank him. Aria pressed a hand to her mouth. So now, Lucian continued gently, I'm thanking him, through you. The dam she'd been holding broke. A tear slid down her cheek. Lucian reached for her instinctively, then stopped himself, fingers curling back as if touching her would violate some unspoken boundary. She wiped her face quickly. I don't know what you expect from me. Honesty, he said. Guidance. And patience. You're asking for a lot. I'm offering a lot. She exhaled shakily. What does this teaching involve? He relaxed minutely, sensing she hadn't said no. Small daily tasks. Lessons. Human challenges, I suppose. To feel something real again. Like what? He thought. Today, maybe you teach me how to slow down. She laughed, short, sharp, disbelieving. You? Slow down. He nodded. Terrifying, isn't it? She covered her face. Lucian, this is crazy. I know. Completely crazy. I know. And you want me to teach you like I'm some emotional drill sergeant? His lips curved. If that's what works, yes. She groaned. Oh God. Lucian leaned back. Aria. I won't force you. If you want to walk away from the favor, I'll let the cafe go back to how it was. I won't interfere again. Her chest tightened. But I would lose the cafe. He met her gaze steadily. Yes. And you'd just walk away like none of this happened. His jaw tensed. If you asked me to, would it hurt you? She asked quietly. He looked stunned by the question. Finally, he said, more than I expected. Her heart cracked open like a window letting in too much light. She took a deep breath. Okay, she said softly. I'll do it. I'll help you. Lucian's shoulders relaxed for the first time since she met him. Thank you. But, she added quickly, pointing at him, you follow my rules, Hale. If I tell you something is too much, you listen. If I tell you to slow down, you slow down. And if you ever talk to me in CEO mode again, I'm dumping hot coffee on your lap. His eyes widened. Duly noted. She smirked. All right then. Lesson 1. Lucian straightened, attentive. I'm listening. Aria walked behind the counter, made 2 cups of coffee, and handed him one. He took it hesitantly. She nodded toward the nearest table. Sit. He obeyed immediately. She sat across from him. Sip the coffee. Slowly. 1 sip every 30 seconds. No checking your phone, no checking email, no planning world domination. He blinked. This is the lesson? Yes. He lifted the cup and took a micro sip, almost embarrassed. It feels pointless. That's because your brain thinks rest is pointless, she said. Which is exactly why you need it. Lucian stared at her as if she'd said something foreign. I don't rest. I know. That's step 1. He watched the steam rise from his cup. Why does this feel harder than negotiating a billion-dollar merger? Because you don't know how to be still, she said. Most powerful people don't. He looked down at his hands. You say that like you understand powerful people. She shrugged. I understand broken ones. Lucian's fingers tightened around the mug. Something in his expression shifted, something wounded, something human. He whispered, I don't know how to fix myself. Good news, she said. You don't have to do it alone now. He looked up. For a moment, the world softened around him. But the moment shattered when the door swung open and Victor Crane stepped inside. He froze at the sight of Lucian. Lucian? What are you doing in this place? Lucian's demeanor changed instantly, like a machine snapping back to factory settings. Cold. Controlled. Untouchable. Aria flinched at the transformation. Victor Crane scanned the cafe with disapproval, then looked at Aria as if she were a cheap mistake. So this is the distraction causing you to miss board briefings? Aria blinked. Excuse me. Lucian stood, suddenly between them. Crane. Leave. Victor laughed. You're skipping corporate meetings to drink coffee with us, barista? Aria bristled. I have a name. Victor didn't look at her. Lucian, Halixon is in trouble. We have leaks, investor panic, and the media is circling. While you're sitting in this dingy cafe playing, whatever this is, your empire is burning. Aria expected Lucian to snap. Instead, he said quietly, I know. Victor scoffed. Then why are you here? Lucian hesitated. His eyes flickered toward Aria. She held her breath. Then he said, because this matters. Victor stared at him like he had grown a second head. You've lost your mind. No, Lucian said. I'm finally using it. Victor took a step toward him. You walk away from the company now, and I promise you Halixon won't be there when you come back. Aria's stomach twisted. Victor's threat wasn't empty. He had influence. Connections. Power. Lucian didn't flinch. If Halixon collapses because I took 1 hour to myself, it was never stable in the first place. Victor's expression hardened. Consider yourself warned. He turned to leave, but not before leaning in close to Aria and whispering, he'll destroy you too, you know. Lucian grabbed Victor's wrist before he could pull away. Victor froze. Lucian's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. If you ever speak to her again without respect, you will regret it. Victor jerked his arm away and stormed out. Silence settled over the cafe. Aria stared at Lucian, stunned, shaken. What was that? A problem, he said simply. Your company is really falling apart, she asked. Lucian's eyes softened with exhaustion. Yes. And you're here anyway? He swallowed. Yes. Why? He looked at her like the answer terrified him. Because I need this, he whispered. I need you. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Before she could speak, his phone buzzed. He checked it, face darkening. What happened? She asked. Another leak, he muttered. My board is turning on me. Aria's voice was soft but steady. Then tell me how to help. Lucian stared at her like he wasn't used to anyone offering. Finally, he said, stay. Don't walk away from this. From me. Waiting for his moment to strike, she promised. Lucian didn't return to the cafe he'd been underwater for years. Aria waited. But neither of them knew that outside, the bell over the door chimed, her heart Victor jumped, Crane sat in his car him to walk in with that impossible window and a problem smiling, he refused to describe. But it wasn't him. Customers came and went. Delivery teams arrived. Renovation workers asked her where to put things. Kai Mercer showed up to install new systems Lucian had ordered. But Lucian himself stayed gone. By late afternoon, she was pacing behind the counter, anxiety curling tight in her stomach. Why isn't he here? She muttered. Kai looked up from a tablet. You didn't hear? Her pulse kicked. Hear what? Halixon. It's bad. Really bad. Victor Crane basically declared internal war. He held a board meeting without Lucian. There are rumors he's pushing to remove him completely. Aria felt cold. Lucian didn't tell me. He probably didn't want to scare you. She clenched her jaw. He should have come here. He shouldn't be alone. Kai hesitated. Aria, maybe he's trying to protect you. She shook her head. Lucian Hale doesn't push people away to protect them. He pushes them away when he's terrified. Kai blinked. Wow. You figured him out fast. She didn't smile. She grabbed her coat. Where are you going? Kai asked. To find him. Halixon Technologies' headquarters towered over the city like a monument to cold ambition. Aria stood in the marble lobby, heart hammering, aware she did not belong here. Glass walls. Security guards. Employees in tailored suits moving with purpose. She walked up to the front desk. I'm here to see Lucian Hale. The receptionist didn't even blink. He isn't receiving visitors. Well, he'll receive me. Ma'am. but Aria was already striding toward the elevators. Security moved to stop her until a familiar voice echoed across the lobby. "Let her through." She turned. Lucian stood at the mezzanine above, looking exhausted, his suit jacket gone, his tie loose, his eyes shadowed like he hadn't slept in days. Aria's breath caught. "Lucian." He descended the stairs slowly, each step measured, like gravity fought him harder today. When he reached her, he managed a faint, tired smile. "You shouldn't be here." "I should," she said. "You disappeared." He exhaled softly. "I didn't want you caught in this." "Well, too late," she snapped. "I'm already in it." His eyes softened with something like regret and something like gratitude. "Come on," he said quietly. "Let's talk." He led her into his office, sleek, cold, mechanical. The opposite of the cafe. The opposite of her. He shut the door and leaned against it like it was the only thing holding him up. "They're voting to remove me," he said. Victor engineered leaks, manipulated numbers, bribed 2 board members, and spun the media into thinking I'm unstable. Aria's throat tightened. "And you're just letting him?" Lucian laughed bitterly. "You really don't understand how corporate mutiny works." "No," she said, "but I understand fear. And that's what he wants from you." Lucian looked at her, startled. "You said you wanted to learn to be human again," she continued. "Well, humans don't run from fights that matter. They show up. They stand up. Even when everything is falling apart." He looked away. "I don't know if I can." "You can," she said firmly. "And you're not doing it alone." His eyes flicked to hers, searching, like he was trying to believe her. A knock shattered the moment. The door opened and Victor Crane stepped inside without waiting. "Lucian, the board is ready." He stopped when he saw Aria. His smile thinned. "Of course." The cafe girl. Lucian's joy tightened. "Victor, leave her out of this." "Oh, I intend to," Victor said. "Because after today, she'll be irrelevant. Just like you." Aria stepped forward. "You're destroying a company for power you don't deserve." Victor's eyes gleamed. "This company needs leadership. Not a man who hides in coffee shops playing emotional dress-up." Lucian inhaled sharply. Aria didn't hesitate. "He was there because he's trying to fix the part of himself your world broke." Victor turned to Lucian. "You see? She's a distraction. And you let her in. That alone proves you're unfit." Aria's rage snapped like a wire. "No. What proves he's fit is that he's learning. Growing. Facing the things that scare him instead of pretending he's above them." Victor scoffed. "How touching." Lucian straightened slowly. "Victor." Victor paused. Lucian stepped forward. "You want the company? Fine. Fight me for it. But do it honestly. Not with sabotage and manipulation." Victor smiled. "I don't need honesty to win." Aria said quietly, "Then that's why you'll lose." Victor left without another word. Lucian sank into his chair, elbows on his knees, hands clasped. "He won't stop." "Neither will I," Aria said. He looked up at her like she was sunlight breaking through a storm. "Aria," he whispered, "why are you doing this for me?" "Because," she said softly, "you asked me to teach you how to be human. And humans don't abandon each other." A tremor passed through him, emotion he didn't know how to hold. She stepped closer. "Lucian, you don't belong behind walls. You belong where you can actually feel something. Where someone sees you." "Do you?" he asked, voice cracking. "See me?" "Yes," she said, "and that scares me too." He closed his eyes. She put her hand on his. "Now go. Fight for what's yours." He stood, straightened his tie, took a breath. And for the first time, he didn't look like a machine. He looked like a man walking into war with something worth fighting for. Hours later, when the vote concluded, Lucian walked out of the boardroom and found Aria waiting in the hallway. He didn't speak. She held her breath. "Well?" she asked. Lucian's expression softened into something fragile and victorious. "I'm still CEO," he said. She laughed, a breathless, relieved sound, and he let out a shaky breath like he'd been holding the world on his shoulders. He looked at her.
We need to talk
really
about this
looked,
right now.
and
It's
said,
urgent.
"Thank you."
What's going on?
"You did it,"
I can't
she
explain here.
replied.
Just
"No," he whispered. "We did." They stood there, 2 people who never should have met but somehow saved each other anyway. And somewhere between all the chaos and all the fear, Lucian Hale rediscovered the one thing he thought he lost forever: hope. If you want more stories like this, don't forget to like, comment your favorite moment, and subscribe for the next